I used to get so anxious and nervous before games. Like, it wasn't like a fear. It was like an anxiety that would come over me because I wanted to get to it. I wanted to get out there and go. And being able to control that, there's an art to it. And that's why I love talking to special operators, because, I feel like they probably go through the same thing before missions. It's like this crazy high level of anxiety. You do all this preparation for a mission. Obviously our lives aren't on the line out there on the football field, but it's like you have to have the right mindset.
Welcome to the Mountain Tough Podcast, brought to you by Sig Sauer. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Mountain Tough Podcast. We are so glad that you are here, and we're so glad that you're diving into these episodes each week. It is always our goal to bring you inspiring, encouraging, motivating guests that allow you to sharpen your skills, become better, and live that abundant, always ready lifestyle. If you're a first-time listener or a loyal listener and you haven't left a ranking or a review on the podcast store of your choice, those do mean the world to us at the Mountain Tough team. We love seeing those come through. We love reading those, but also the rankings and reviews allow these episodes to get out to more people, to change more lives. So if you haven't done that yet, we would love for you to leave a ranking or a review on the podcast store of your choice. In the lab right now, we got a lot going on. A lot of folks are diving into those new programs: Mountain Strength, Mountain Nutrition, The Mountain, and also Kettlebell Diesel. The comments coming through on Kettlebell Diesel are insane. If you are looking for that elite level program for this winter, check out Kettlebell Diesel. It's a kettlebell strength and speed program, fully coached. All you have to do is hit play in the app, and you're going to follow along with Sarah or I, and you're going to be able to compete with two Mountain Tough athletes. So if you're looking for a minimal gear program that's going to push your limits, check out Kettlebell Diesel. You're not going to want to miss that program. And it's only 4 weeks, so you can knock it out in 4 weeks and then transition to the next, or transition back to minimal gear dailies. Shifting gears to today's episode. Today's episode is with Derek Wolfe. Derek Wolfe was an NFL superstar, 10 years in the league. He did win a Super Bowl, and he played on the Denver Broncos and the Baltimore Ravens. Derek is an absolute beast at 300 pounds. He is a savage athlete, but he has been through some insane injuries. So he's conquered the labrum being torn off of his hip. He's had a dislocated elbow. He's been in a coma from some spinal complications. He tore all the ligaments out of his neck. So it was no easy ride for Derek, and he plowed through that adversity and came out on the top on the other side. So transitioning out, he runs a phenomenal podcast now, Wolfe Untamed, and he also is a hunter advocate, fighting for our right to hunt in America and fighting for conservation to make sure that we can pass hunting down to the next generation. His mindset is insane. There's no plan B for Derek. He does burn the boats, and he did come from a rough childhood, and that rough childhood led to an insane work ethic, which led to the success he saw in the NFL. There's a lot to learn from what Derek shares today. This is an episode you're not going to want to miss, so stand by for my conversation with Derek Wolfe. The stabilizing binos are insane. Like, when you first see them, you're like, these are kind of weird looking. I don't know if I can use these things.
Yeah, they look different, man. They look crazy, but you can hold. It's easy to hold them with one hand, which is great. If you're a bow hunter, you always have that bow in your hand, so it's nice to be able to pull those binos out and not fumble around with them.
Yeah, I was definitely skeptical at first, and it's wild because we went on a bunch of hunts after Sig hooked us up with those as well. And what we started seeing is, like, everyone was like, hey, pass me the stabilizing binos. Cause we only had like one set between the three of us. So everyone was like sharing, everyone wanted to get their hands on them because they were that much of a game changer.
Yeah, they're nice, man. Cause and they're 16 buys too. So you get a little, you could reach out a little bit further and see, but I used them on a couple bear hunts this year, and then I used them on obviously the elk hunts, but it was just really nice to have them.
Yeah.
It's nice to have them I hunt from a tree saddle when I whitetail hunt too. So it's nice to have them like when I'm in a tree saddle too.
Yeah.
You know, like if I pull my bow down and I have one hand free, you know, I don't have to fumble around with both hands. I don't have to set my bow back. I can just stabilize them with one hand.
Yeah, they're sweet. They probably sent you that new Cross 300 Win Mag too. That's that Cross in the long action.
Mm-hmm.
That thing's awesome.
Yeah, it's a real nice gun. I mean, everything they make is just top quality. So
yep.
They don't make anything that's garbage.
Yeah, their team is amazing. We've gone out to the headquarters a couple times, and every time I'm blown away because they're a big company now, and so they have a lot of employees. And every time we're out there, I'm like, man, how do you keep such an awesome culture with this many people? Because everyone you meet from SIG, no matter what their role is in the company, they just have that same awesome mentality. It's super helpful, super innovative. Like you see it all across the board.
I mean, it's like that with any business or team that you're putting together. You know, if the culture is wrong, then shit rolls downhill quick. You know, so if it's wrong, it starts at the top. You know, the culture starts at the top and then it rolls down, and people just people are naturally going to gravitate towards good leaders. So if you have people that want to be good leaders, they're going to gravitate towards good leaders. They're going to be good humans. If they're, the shitty people get weeded out pretty quick. You know, it's like that on any team as well. Any great team that I've been a part of, it always was started at the top. You know, and I'm talking about like front office even. You know, it starts even at the front office when it comes to the NFL. Then it kind of trickles down. When you got guys like DeMarcus Ware and Peyton Manning as your leaders, once you get to the team level, it's, everybody kind of follows suit.
Yeah. Those guys just leading by example. What do you think? What was the best team culture you were ever a part of?
Oh man, it was from 2012 to 2016 in Denver. Was really unbelievable culture. And then when I was in Baltimore, the culture in Baltimore is pretty badass. It's, then it's the same. It starts at the top, ownership all the way down through to the 53rd guy on the roster. It is, everybody's on the same page.
Did you ever see any cultures blow up, like cultures go from good to bad?
Yeah, that happened in Denver. After the 2016 season, Peyton left, DeMarcus left. Ownership was in shambles, and it just kind of trickled down, and now they're just in this hole that they can't really get out of.
It changes fast too.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, every season is different because all the guys are different, but you get a few bad apples in there. It's like cancer; it just spreads. Yeah,
it spreads real quick. Well, Derek, I did want to dig into your mindset a little bit because you are an extremely mentally tough dude. I've heard you talk a lot about on other shows, some of these, crazy injuries you've gone through, your intense competitive nature. So I kind of wanted to back up and really learn like where that came from, how it developed, and kind of what it looks like now as well. And I know you do talk about your rough childhood. I kind of wanted to start with that. Like where'd you grow up and what'd your childhood look like?
Yeah. So I grew up in Northeast Ohio, like right where West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, all three meet, right along the Ohio River there. My mom struggled with addiction. My stepfather was abusive. It was a lot of trauma and violence and stuff going on in my house. So really football was it was like a perfect segue for me to kind of get out of what I was in, the situation I was in. That was the only way I saw out. And for me, it was like, okay, I got three options here. When I was like 14, I was like, okay, I got three options here. I can either get really good at football and take this serious. I can focus on joining the military, or I can go to prison. That was really like the three options. So it was military, football, or prison is how I looked at it, or just be some loser townie that just never did anything with his life.
Yeah.
Which I was not cool with any of those, other than I was, for me, it was like, okay, I could be a Navy SEAL. That'd be cool. I was always interested in doing something like that, but football was what I loved. I loved it. You know, I loved the camaraderie, the family dynamic of a team. That was just like so important to me to have. And then it opened the doors to so many other things, as far as like giving me, you know, I was good at football, so people would let me stay with them. And I was a good wrestler. So, you know, those things those things help if you're just some big kid that, you know, isn't really good at anything, doesn't really take direction well, all those things. And not that I was a knucklehead when I was young, just because I didn't have any real guidance. But once I learned that work ethic, that I lived on a Black Angus farm with a family in high school. And I learned how to work hard there. That they taught me work ethic and,
for sure,
you know, waking your ass up and getting going, you know, getting your day started and not staying up all night and goofing around. It was really good for me to learn that. And then got a scholarship to Cincinnati. I went there, played all 4 years, and then I was playing really good football while I was there. I knew I was gonna make it out after my freshman year, because I just was able to compete with guys that I knew were already going to make it to the league. So I was already competing with those guys, and then playing against, you know, certain teams. I knew, all right, I can make it out of here. I ended up getting drafted in the second round to Denver in 2012, and then came in and was third string and earned that starting job, and played all 16 games, and plus a playoff game that year, and played really good football. And then you go into 2013, and I trained my ass off, you know, because I was like, I need to be even better. I was trying to take it up a notch. And then in the preseason, I bruised my spinal cord. And that sucked, you know, and then that led to, I played 2 weeks after it happened. I was paralyzed from the nose down.
Jeez.
For about 3 hours. I started to feel my arms and feet in about, you know, probably like an hour afterwards. But it was total. When I say feel it, there was sensation, a little bit of sensation there, but I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And then I ended up getting up off the table and walked out of the hospital and got on the plane with the team to go back. And 2 weeks later, I was back on the field. And I think that my mindset was just like, just ignore it. I just ignored it. You know, I acted like it didn't happen. It was like, oh, that didn't happen. Cause the way they explained it to me, it was like the lights in a warehouse, right? You flip them off, they go right off. But when you flip them back on, it takes a while for them to turn back on. And that's kind of how they explained it to me. You know, it was a bruise on my spinal cord, right at the base of my brainstem, C1.
Jeez.
So it was, I didn't let it heal, right? So I kept playing, and it was pretty miserable. I was in a lot of pain, losing feeling in my arms and stingers every time I got hit, but I was still playing good football. And then week 12, we were going to Kansas City to play, and I had a seizure. Man. And that seizure almost killed me. I had to go, they had to put me in a coma for 3 days or for 2 days. And then, a little bit more than a day. So like a day and a half, I was in a coma, in an induced coma. And then when I came out of that, I tried to go back to practice like 2 weeks after that. And it just like something was up. It just wasn't, I didn't feel right. Something was off. So I just took the rest of the season off and got myself right. You know, I'd started doing a lot of like meditations, and I started doing yoga, started doing inversions and stuff like that to help reconnect my mind and my body. And that worked. That stuff helped. So I came back that next season and played every single game and got my weight back on, my strength. Everything was good. Dang. And then we, you know, I played all those games, and then get to 2015, played all those games, won a Super Bowl, got a big contract. And then in 2016, I got face masked really bad by the center. Like I beat the center, and he reached out and grabbed me by the face mask and like yanked me, and it tore all the tendons in my neck, like all the facets. It tore them all. And I just kind of fought through that and kept playing. Dislocated my elbow that year too, and just played through it, you know, made it through. And then in 2017, I got all the way to like week 13 or 14, and I couldn't even open a door handle with my right hand. I don't know what was going on, but it was bad. So they went in there and did a foraminotomy and then dripped stem cells on all the facets. And that fixed me up pretty good. I came back in 2018, played every single game. And then 2019 came back, played every single game until I was leading the team in sacks. It was a contract year. So I was playing really good football. And I was leading the team in sacks. We were playing against the Chargers. It was the last minute and a half of the game, and it was a 4th down play. I had already had 2 sacks in the game. I was playing really good. I went to make the stop, and half the line didn't move, and half the line did move. And when I was going, I slipped and went to get up off the ground, and my nose guard ran into me. His shin hit me right in the elbow, right here.
Yeah.
And my elbow went completely to the ground and dislocated completely.
Dude.
And I was that was just devastating. I was like, fuck.
Oh, and the pain.
I was so pissed. I couldn't get the elbow to go back into the socket. So that hurt. Then they took me in and laid me down and got to go back in. And I just was like, this sucks. And then COVID happened. COVID comes. So I went from thinking, all right, I'm going to get another huge deal,
Big
and
deals.
play another 5 or 6 years, and now I'm thinking can't even get COVID happens and the doctors can't see me. So they don't know if I'm good or not. So my wife was like, you should post a video of yourself working out. And I was like, okay. So I posted a video of me doing dumbbell incline presses with 160-pound dumbbells. And the next day I got a call from the Texans. And then later that next day, I got a call from the Ravens.
Just from that video.
And they were like, yeah. And they were like, hey, we'll bring you in on a 1-year prove it deal. And I'm like, fucking prove it deal. This is my 9th season. How much more do I need to prove?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go and it sucks sometimes going to another organization because they don't know you like the other organization knows you. So you have to go and improve yourself again. And I did. I went in and played every single game that year. And then that COVID year, which was tough because the guys were just not available. So I was playing, instead of playing 30, 45 snaps a game, I was playing 60, 70 snaps a game. So I was doubling up. It was 2 years in one.
Dang.
As far as the toll on my body that I was taking, but I ended up leading the league in run stops again. And we ended up going to the divisional round of the playoffs, lost to the Bills. And then that next season, I was like, okay, they said they re-signed me to another deal, gave me some more money, which was great. Then the next season, we were in training camp, and I was having, in my opinion, probably the best training camp I had in my whole career. Everything was clicking. I felt great. Everything was good. The only problem was it was with the COVID stuff and the vaccine bullshit.
Yep.
I didn't have access to the same type of medical, the same type. When I say medical, I mean I couldn't lift with the team. I had to lift in a separate area. I couldn't.
That's crazy.
I couldn't have my body workers come. And then we were doing a joint practice down in Carolina, and we were just kicking their ass and in practice. And then I get hit in the face and hit in the low back at the same time. And then I just was dragging my leg around the rest of the time we were there. And then we get back to Baltimore, and I just I couldn't even stand up hardly. So turns out, after all this shit goes on, turns out my right hip labrum is ripped off the bone.
Oh.
And I got bone spurs on the head of my femur that are just ripping into my cartilage.
Holy smokes.
And I just couldn't. And then I had an old fracture in my low back and some bulging discs in my low back. So I was like, fuck, this is going to suck.
Yeah.
So I got those taken care of. I tried an epidural just to get back out there, and I couldn't do it. I'm not going to go out there and if I can't perform at my best, then I'm not going to do it. So I was like, all right, well, let me go get these surgeries. And then in getting those surgeries, that doctor was like, hey, I think it's time to call it, man. You're going to, if you want to be able to walk and do the shit you want to do in your life, you're only 32, 33 years old. You want to be able to do all these things. I suggest you stop playing now. And I was like, fuck.
Oh.
All right. So I was happy. I was happy with it. I felt I don't have any regrets. Now we're here, it's just been this kind of, this crazy football life that went on. And it's now I have the rest of my life to live. And what do I want to do with that?
Mm-hmm. I've used a ton of Bluetooth speakers over the years, and they all have never quite had enough output for me to really have an awesome home gym workout on a Bluetooth speaker. but the turtle box is in a whole new ball game. They have leveled up this product, so the base and the output you get out of a turtle box is quite amazing. It's funny how we started using them at the lab. We had an awesome sound system at our new lab here in Bozeman. We were using it so much, we actually blew our brand new system out. We went right to the turtle boxes. And so we paired two together in the lab. And that was a lot of output for the Mountain Tough team and all of our testing to have phenomenal sound in our gym for a great workout with great music. We know there's a ton of Mountain Toughers training in their basements, in their garages. And I know a lot of you are looking for great sound to play some music in the background to your MGDs or your kettlebell diesel. This is a great product for you to check out. Turtle Box is at a whole new level. The bass and the volume you can get out of that box. It's a sweet product. You guys can check them out at turtleboxaudio.com. Again, that's turtleboxaudio.com. You've been listening to the Mountain Tough podcast. So backing up all the way, a lot of folks' mental toughness comes from their parents. With your rough childhood, do you think a lot of that mindset came from for you getting out of the house and working for that Black Angus farm?
Yeah, I think a lot of that was there, and I think a lot of it was also the culture at Cincinnati. We had the culture that we had at Cincinnati was like, we just got after it. It was no excuses. Like, I don't care. We'd go out and drink all night and wake up and go work out. It was like, we're going to get after it no matter what. We're not going to sit around and feel sorry for ourselves, this and that. And it was kind of the same way in high school for me. It was like, hey, nobody feels sorry for you. Like, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Nobody's coming to help. Nobody's going to do it for you. Mm-hmm. There's only one way to get shit done, and it's to do it yourself. So it's been this struggle of like, cause yeah, everybody has that little voice in their head. It's like, oh, see, this is fucked up. It's not going to work. Like, I told you it's not going to work. Like, I knew it wasn't going to work, but it's fighting that little inner voice that says, all right, slow down. Mm-hmm. Like I always took pride in making it so my coaches had to tell me to slow down. I think a lot of that toughness was built in the wrestling room because like, there's no one else to blame but you. And from like that, when you're out there, when you're grappling with big heavyweights, man, it's like, 2 minutes, and then you get down and you get up, and then it's like, next thing you know, you wrestled for 9 minutes and you're dog ass tired in overtime. There's only one person to blame if you lose, mm-hmm. and it's you. So that mental toughness was built, in wrestling rooms and weight rooms, on the football field, working on that farm, just getting through the days as a kid, hoping that I had something to eat at night, hoping that I had a place to sleep, wondering what was going to happen the next day. Like, those things, just kind of over time,
make you tough. Just
built me into this. Nothing really fazed me. Like, mm-hmm. I might be fazed by it, but I'm not going to show it. And then as an adult, it's kind of funny because I have daughters, and it's like, I want my daughters to see that it's okay to be vulnerable as a man. That men should be vulnerable, but also there's like, it's a different type of vulnerability than a woman would show, I think. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be stone faced all the time. You can sometimes, you can show happiness, you can show sadness, you can show excitedness, you can show, it's okay to be scared. Like, it's okay to be scared, Mm-hmm. I used to get so anxious and nervous before games. Like, it wasn't like a fear. It was like an anxiety that would come over me because I wanted to get to it. I wanted to get out there and go, and being able to control that, there's an art to it. And that's why I love talking to special operators, because, I feel like they probably go through the same thing before missions. It's like this crazy high level of anxiety. You do all this preparation for a mission. And then you're like, obviously our lives aren't on the line out there on the football field, but it's like, there's a lot riding on this shit. A lot of people's jobs on the line, your job on the line, mm-hmm. This is how you put food on your table. It's one of those things where you have to have the right mindset. in anything you do. I don't give a shit if you're a professional athlete or if you're just starting something new, you're running a business, if you're, I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter. If your mindset is not right, then you're never going to take it to the top. You're always going to just be kind of mid-level or, just being content with just being okay. Do you want to be great or do you want to be good? I want to be great at whatever it is I'm doing. So that all starts in the mind, and it's mostly, just telling that inner bitch to shut up and, sending him on his way, sending that little inner bitch that's crying and whining and wants to quit and telling him to shut up and get out, and just moving on and just keep going, keep grinding.
You got to fight that complacency.
Yeah, just getting rid of that complacency. I think complacency can be a disease. It's just people are okay with mediocre bullshit. And, I'm just not that guy.
Mm-hmm. And how hard did you go through did you crash and burn at all or go through a depression season when you were finally done playing football?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What'd that look like?
When, it really hit me. It didn't hit. So the first year out of retirement, I kind of I dove straight into bow hunting again. Like I already bow hunted when I was young and I loved it. So when I was able to get back into it, I dove straight into it. So the whole month of September, I was when football season starts, that's what I was doing. This last year, I went down to the stadium to do this flag planting on the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was out there in front of, 80,000 people waving the flag and planted it and just and howling and stuff. And I missed the violence of the game.
Yeah.
I missed that that energy. It is what it is. It's the energy that you gain from that many people focused on you and screaming for you and rooting and cheering for you. It just was man, it was it all hit me at once. Oh damn, I can't go back now. It's done. That's over.
It's a chapter.
So I kind of fell into a sort of depression. And then it was, I battle with anxiety and depression anyways, and then it was overwhelming. So I just was all right, I focused on getting back out into the woods and getting back, I had some elk hunts coming up. So I went back to the backcountry. It was good for me, but I was unsuccessful in those hunts. You know what I mean? So it was it kind of piled onto it. It helped in a lot of ways just being out there.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time leaving somewhere and not finishing a job.
Felt like a failure.
You know what I mean? So it felt like I failed, and I was man, I'm just failing. Because my first year I was every time I went out, it was luck was on my side. I was sending arrows and making shit happen.
Yeah. And
then this fall was just different, man. It just things weren't working out. It just wasn't happening. And that's hunting though. You know what I mean? That's just the way hunting goes. It's you're not, whatever you expect to happen out there, usually if you go out there with expectations, you're usually going to get, shit on. Those expectations are going to get shit on real quick. It's this should, I was in a really good unit in New Mexico thinking I'm going to kill a giant now. Let's go. And 7 days and 89 miles later, I was leaving with nothing, didn't even draw my bow, which was incredible to me. So I just was you know what, man, I gotta, there was things I just was I need to refocus my energies here and figure out how to I can't just disappear. Because to me, running off to the backcountry, you're just running from it. Then
checking out.
It's you're just checking out and you're not really addressing the issue. So I just started doing daily things, right? So I started doing gratitude lists, write 3 things I'm grateful for down. Because, I have everything I could ever want and I ever dreamed of. So it's what am I what am I bitching for? Why am I so sad? What the fuck is there to be sad about, And I think as men, we're supposed to have something we have to be conquering, or some kind of battle
purpose
has to be happening, and the purposeful. It's I'm just retired now. I don't do anything. What do I do? What am I now? Cause I guess that's your identity as a football player, So now it's what's my identity now? Okay. So let me focus on being the best husband, the best father, the best hunter, the best friend. I focus on those things, right? And that's been really good for me. I've been doing a lot of grappling as well, and sparring and striking and stuff like that, and some jiu-jitsu and that stuff. It helps me with because I need that like physical violence,
Yeah.
And that's really helped as well. So those are the things that I've been doing. But those dark, some days I wake up and it sucks. Like, I'm like, man, this sucks. Like, I don't like the way I feel right now. So I just immediately do something to fix that, so, like, because the same part of your brain that feels anxiety is the same part that feels gratitude. So if you can flip that switch to a gratitude way of thinking, then it usually helps.
Oh, and there's so much.
It's nice because it's gotten to the point now where I just even like sometimes I don't have to write it down. I just think about 3 things, and it could be the smallest things. I'm grateful for a full night's sleep, grateful for a warm bed, grateful for healthy kids, grateful for a hot cup of coffee. Like things like that they will flip your whole mentality right away in the morning. And you do that in the morning, and then it leads into the rest of your day.
It helps so much. They talk about on your worst days, if you can just dig into your protocols more than ever before, that is the solution, which always begs that question of like, got it. But, what are the protocols? And those protocols look different for every person, but like sleeping well, eating well, socializing well, and then challenging yourself and gratitude are the 5 things that, come up to the top of most people's list. But when you're feeling depressed, the last thing you want to do is think of those, or the last thing you usually want to do is go after those 5 things. But the harder you can just dive into those five things and hit those 5 things harder than before, like that is usually the key of getting out of those seasons, especially like if you can tie it with a purpose at the same time.
Yeah. And that's, the other thing for me is, I think that the foundation to being successful with anything is discipline. So being disciplined in how you like, not wavering for anything, right? So like, I'm going to create a set of rules here for myself, and I'm not going to waver from that, right? Like, I'm not going to eat shitty food. I'm not going to take all these rest days. Like I'm going to grind through days when you don't feel like doing something and then you go do it. That's when you get better. That's what, like you just said, most of the time when you're depressed or feeling shitty, you don't want to do those things. You just want to kind of sit around, feel sorry for yourself, and seclude or what is it? Yeah. You want to like kind of put yourself in a box and kind of stay there and not really, you don't want to talk to anybody about it. You don't want to say anything about it. But for me, it's like, if I just wake up, do my gratitude list, have a cup of coffee, have some oatmeal, and then take my daughter to school, and then go do a workout and go do a challenge. Like, it can't just be some, bullshit Lifetime Fitness workout. Like, I need to challenge myself. I have to want to quit. I have to want to quit in that workout and then push through that. And then I feel better. And that usually makes me feel way better. So those are the things that I think a lot of people are missing. A lot of people make excuses. Oh, I don't have time. I don't have this. I don't have that. It's like, you have time to sit down and write 3 things down. You have to, like, I don't give a fuck what you say. You have that time.
5 minutes.
And we live in a world now where everybody's a fucking, mental health coach. Everybody's a toughness coach, but it's like, you have to find, like, there's a threshold for everybody, right? Like, you don't have to go run a fucking 100-mile marathon just to be tough, right? Like, it takes mental toughness to wake up and do something you don't want to do every single day.
Yep.
Right. It takes mental toughness to do that. And the trick for me has always been, even with football, like, you think I wanted to wake up at fucking 5 a.m. and go lift weights and then go to class in college? You think I wanted to do any of that? No, but I tricked myself into thinking it was fun. So now my brain is wired to think that shit is fun.
That works.
So that's just, you just trick your brain into thinking it's fun. It's everything starts in your head, right? Like, if you trick yourself into thinking it sucks and this is going to suck, like, it's going to suck, but if you embrace that suck and think this will be, it's going to suck, but we'll have some fun doing it. That's when real change happens. The other thing about about hunting for me was the camaraderie of a hunt camp.
For sure.
Being in a hunt camp with a bunch of guys, like just busting each other's balls, it's a lot of fun. Same with being in a good gym community, in a good community where guys are kind of working out together and training together, and being in an MMA gym with guys that are grinding. You got a lot of hungry younger dudes in there, and it's just fun to watch them and be around them and help them. Just kind of being I'm like a practice dummy now. It's fun, so I just go in there and drill with them and help them in any way I can with just because most guys aren't 300 pounds and can move the way I do. So, so I can give them those looks with the weight and the strength and the striking ability. And I got good wrestling. So it's fun to do that kind of thing. So, to me, it's like, that's part of being in service of others,
Yeah.
Now I'm in service of these guys. I'm helping these guys get better. I'm not training for a fight or anything. I'm just out there helping, and it's a good time. So I think that if you're just a guy that's like, you know what, man, like, I don't really like where I'm at. I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like my job. My wife hates me. I look like shit. I think it's time. Maybe it's time to go get some blood work done. See what your hormones look like. See what your diet looks like, and then from there, you're like, most people just need to fix their diet. You know what I mean? It's not that difficult to do.
And
it's easy to go buy some ground meat or go out and, like, for me, I love eating what I kill. Right. So there's something like rewarding about reaching into the freezer and pulling out meat that you killed. It's very rewarding. And then feeding that to your family. It's like, there's something like,
it's so primal.
Something primal, something super primal about that. And, and you feel like, I know it's like, it sounds macho and kind of silly, but it's things like you keep doing all these little things and it builds up into something big for you. And, that's why it's so much fun to me, because it gives me some purpose, doing those things. And like, as soon as we get off this call, I'm going straight to the gym, training. It's like, that's what I'm doing. I go straight to the gym, purposeful training. I'm not just in there training to look good. I'm training for a purpose. Right. I have a mountain goat hunt in BC with Aaron Snyder in August. Dang. I want to be ready for that, and I'm at a disadvantage on those mountains because I'm so much bigger than everybody. Yeah. So I have to train my ass off to be ready for those hunts. So that's, and they suck, you know what I mean? Like, carry like 150 pound sandbag, holding it against your chest and you can't breathe, and doing box step ups with it, just like, and then go pick up your bow and shoot it. Like, yeah, you don't have to. And that's the thing, man. Like, you can, if you're a guy that is a bow hunter and wants to get ready for a hunt, you can literally, like, I know you guys develop all these programs and everything, but like you could literally just go do fucking burpees and lunges.
Yep. Do something.
And then pick your bow up and shoot it. And that will like put you ahead of the game already. You know what I mean? Cause there's nothing, I don't know if I know me, like my first elk hunt, I was like, dude, this is not easy. This is hard as shit. Like, it was an over-the-counter elk hunt in Colorado, and I was like, dude, I haven't seen an elk in 4 days. This sucks.
It's a challenge.
But it was like, you just keep going. And then I was like, man, I kind of love this. This is great.
Yeah.
But you want to quit the whole time. Like, from the second you step out of the truck and start walking up a hill, you're like, this sucks.
It's so hard.
And your mind's like, oh, just sit down. So it's like, no, if you sit down, you're really fucked. So just keep going. It's been one of those things where, having these hunts that come up where I like really, it's not even about the kill. I just want to make sure that I can go out there and have a good time, and challenge myself and not injure myself, Yeah. Because if you get fatigue makes a coward of us all. And if you go out there and you're going to get tired. But if you've never felt that before, then you feel it for the first time on the mountain. Yeah. I think you're going to be in trouble. You can get yourself in some trouble.
And Snyder's a mountain goat too, man. Keeping up with him's no joke.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be difficult, but he's, he even said because we were talking about, because I'm working with Ironclad right now where I want to make a real film out of this. Out of that hunt, because I think that the scenery and the training that goes into it and everything, I think it'll make an interesting story.
Oh, it's gonna be epic.
It'll be good stuff, and it's really pretty country. It's some rough terrain, and it's a real backpack hunt. So we'll be out there for 9 days sleeping on the ground. And he was like, well, you got to make sure the camera guys aren't going to bitch out. I was like, I know, we'll be good. These guys know what they're doing.
You'll need some legit camera guys that can hike. How is your body feeling now, Derek? I know, like, what was your max weight when you were in the NFL? What are you weighing now? But also, I really want to hear about, you talked about going into that season of meditations, yoga, to rebuild your body. How are you feeling now? And are you still doing some of those things?
Yeah. So I still do, I don't do yoga anymore just because I don't have like, that doesn't fit into my schedule anymore. Mm-hmm. But I do a lot of like functional training, right? So I do a lot of functional training, and my weight, it's funny because my weight, I was just on a scale yesterday, and cause I just don't check my weight a lot because I just don't, if I feel good, I feel good.
Yeah.
You know, I spent so much time worrying about what my weight was at that I just don't care anymore. And it's funny because I'm still basically, I'm like 3 or 4 pounds lighter than I would be if I was playing.
Dang.
So it's been, obviously it's like a different energy system that I use. But because of the grappling and MMA stuff, but you know, I don't have as much power as I used to have, which is because I don't train that stuff anymore. Like I'm not doing 400-pound hang cleans, and I'm not doing, 600-pound squats anymore and stuff like that. I'm doing like mostly endurance stuff. And, it's weird how my weight has just kind of stayed where it's at, because I was just naturally big, so I wasn't like one of those guys that had to pack on, 40, 50 extra pounds just to play. I was pretty much stayed at the weight that I was at.
That's good. And like you're a family man now. How are you planning on passing down a lot of these work ethic and mindset characteristics to your daughters? I know that, that's something that I talk a lot about. I have 2 daughters myself. And so it is complicated too, especially if you think about how we started the podcast today. Like a lot of the grit that you have comes from hard work and a rough childhood. And a lot of like the grit I have comes from hard work when I was young, outside, like in a farm and ranch environment as well. And, things have changed. Things have changed where like we're in a high-tech society. We're in a really, you couldn't be alive at an easier time than right now from like health, food, safety standpoint. So, passing down this mindset to our children is probably more a challenge than ever before. Have you thought about ways you're going to tackle that?
Yeah. So like what I've focused on, especially with my youngest, is I reward the effort. The effort is what's rewarded. It's not the outcome. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to reward the outcome. I'm going to reward the effort. And as long as you tried hard, that's all I care about. I just want to see you try hard. I got my oldest is, she's my stepdaughter, but she's 16 and she's like a genius. She's not into anything athletic wise. Like she's not in any of that, but she is like a genius, and she studies her ass off. She takes all that stuff serious, and she's in all honors classes and a college prep school. Dang. And she's like already got her life figured out at 16 years old. I'm like, holy shit. I was like such a knucklehead at this age, So that's the same with her. Like, I don't care if you didn't she has a 4.2 GPA. She was actually like in tears the other night, because she only had it was a couple months ago, but she's like a 4.0. She's like, I'm only at a 4.0. I was like, do you hear yourself right now? I was like, you only have a 4.0. I was like, listen, you're working your ass off. Like you're doing all these things. You're doing all the right stuff. Like that's what is important. It's the fact that you're trying. You're trying as hard as you possibly can. And I don't give a shit about the result. I just want to see you try hard. And then with my youngest, she is into like all these, she wants to do all kinds of sports and athletics. So she's only 4, but I got her in martial arts and gymnastics right now. Mm-hmm. So what I do is I just like, as long as you try, and it's funny because she's so much like me. She's like, I didn't do a good job today. I didn't do good on my kicks or this and that. I'm like, no, you did great. You tried at least, that's what matters. is that you tried. We'll develop that. Like, I know they're both super competitive with everything they do. So it's like, okay, we can build off of this. So that's where not letting them quit and get frustrated and quit. Just don't let them. If you let your kids quit once, it's easier for them to quit the second time. Right. So, and then the third time's even easier. And the next thing you know, anything that gets tough in life, they just quit. So I don't let them quit things like right away, unless they really hate it. It's like they got to really hate what it is,
Yeah.
Whether it's picking up their toys, or my youngest, like, she does not want to pick it. Dad, it's going to take so long. I don't want to do it. It's like, it would be so much easier for me just to go over and pick it up and put it away real quick and then move on with the day. But we're going to spend this 20 minutes arguing with a 4-year-old over why it's important to pick up your toys, or why it's important to brush your teeth. Like, those types of things are where I think you develop like a discipline. And I don't think you have to develop a grit, but mental discipline is the base of being mentally tough. Because if you're disciplined enough to get up and go do the things every day and push through things, then you're going to be mentally tough. It's going to develop.
Yeah.
So I think that's really how I do it. I just try to reward the effort.
Yeah. I mean, one of the greatest traits we can have for sure is consistency. I mean, you can't win without consistency. You can't win again without consistency, which is certainly connected to discipline, because it's like, am I consistently training every day? Am I consistently doing my gratitude work every day? Everything falls apart when that consistency falls apart. Derek, a lot of like mental toughness principles are rooted in this concept of no plan B, burn the ships. So when you talk to a lot of special operations guys, one of the key themes you hear about around passing selection or passing certain milestones in their training is there was never a plan B on the table. Do you feel like that's kind of the way you lived, especially like in those Cincinnati days where you're like, football is it? There's no plan B. I'm going to make this football thing work. Like, I'm burning the ships. I'm going all in.
Yeah. That's definitely the way I looked at it. And I don't know if that's necessary. It worked out for me, but some days I'm like, man, I wish I would have taken school a little bit more serious. I wish I would have paid. I was just doing what I had to do to stay eligible. Like, that was all I cared about, was if I was eligible. I didn't really care about getting a degree. But now, now that I'm older and a little wiser, I'm like, man, I wish I would have, focused on like taking courses that would have like helped me later in life, and it's not even like about helping me financially. It's about just like, education and knowledge and those things. I just wasn't interested in it. I love history. So I was always like learning about history, but it was like, man, I wish maybe I should have focused on something like that in school, rather than just, dicking around with school and making sure I was eligible. But for the most part, honestly, I did. I burnt the boats, burnt the bridges. I was like, it's this or nothing. I'm either making it out or I'm not. And that was the way I looked at it. It was like football or nothing.
Mountain Tough is the fitness app trusted by the dedicated. Mountain Tough ethos is backed by, we've always wanted to be the best in the world at helping our customers become more mentally tough. So inside the Mountain Tough app, you're not only going to find all of our physical training programs, but you're going to find additional training as well, so that you can stay sharp physically, mentally, spiritually, and nutritionally. The Mountain Tough app also allows you to train no matter where you are, anytime, anywhere. Additionally, the Mountain Tough app is going to have programs from beginners all the way up to elite athletes. And all of our programming is structured in a way that you can start with no gear at body weight, and you can go all the way up to programming that is full gear. So you can do that in a robust home gym or your local gym. There's no excuse for you not to start today. With Mountain Tough, you can conquer your goals with the ideal program for your lifestyle and schedule. Train with equipment or just your body weight on your phone, tablet, TV, or web browser. Most importantly, Mountain Tough will help you train your mindset so you are always ready for anything life throws your way. Mountain Tough is offering the Mountain Tough podcast listeners an incredible offer. 6 weeks free on the Mountain Tough app. All you need to do is use the code MTNPOD to redeem your 6 weeks of training. That'll be a 14-day free trial plus a whole additional 4 weeks of training. Just go to mountaintough.com and enter code MTNPOD for your 6 weeks free on the best-in-class physical and mental training app. You've been listening to the Mountain Tough podcast. And you talked about that Broncos culture being, one of the best you've ever seen. What do you think what was behind that culture? What was making that so great? What are some of the things that were really making that a phenomenal place to be?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of it that goes into it. It starts with holding each other accountable. I think that's like the foundation of it. We held each other accountable from the top guy to the bottom. It was everybody was out here for we had one purpose, and it was to try to win a championship. And we weren't going to waver from that no matter what. And no matter how bad things would get, it didn't matter. We never thought we were going to lose. Like every game that year was won by three or 4 points.
Jeez.
It was all really tight games, and we won them right at the end. And defense won those games because we would not accept failure. Like we were going to make something happen.
Expect to win.
And that comes, and it's easy. Like as a football game is like a life cycle, right? Like there's so many ups and downs in a football game that by the end of it, you're emotionally exhausted if you allow that to happen. And we just never let our emotions get on the negative side. We always stayed positive. And it was always like, it didn't matter what happened. Like if the offense turned the ball over, we looked at that as an opportunity to go out there and make plays. That's the way we treated it, So when shitty things happen in your life, you can either, just feel sorry for yourself and be like, oh, fuck, see, we're not going to win, or you can turn it around and be like, oh, it's an opportunity. I should learn from that. We can learn from this, or this is an opportunity for me to go make a difference now, and that's the way we all looked at it. Who's going to make the next play? And then being happy for the guy next to you that made the play. That was, it was like you made the play. Treat it like you made the play. Because to be a part of a team, you have to be one. You're individuals out there, but you also have to be one. And that was like the most impressive thing about that team was we had so many guys that were just we had Hall of Famers all over the place. All pros and, pro bowlers and just guys that were up on contracts and they could have taken opportunities to be selfish and they never did. Everybody was out there just doing what they had to do to win.
For the greater purpose.
That was the coolest part of it.
Who do you think was the greatest leader you ever worked around in the NFL?
Peyton Manning. Yeah. I think Peyton was DeMarcus Ware, unbelievable leader as well. Elvis Dumervil, ridiculous leader. But I think Peyton was nobody like him.
What made him so good?
He never acted you got to think, this guy is arguably the greatest of all time, right? But you never felt like you were with the greatest of all time. You felt like you were with one of the guys.
Humble.
Super humble, treated everybody the same. I could still call him. You know what I mean? I could still call Peyton. When I see him, we still have conversations. When it's just one of those guys that he never treated anybody like he was above them. And I think that's the mark of a great leader. It's not, you don't speak down to your people or to your men or to your whatever position you're in as even females, a lot of female leadership. The reason why I think a lot of my wife is a great leader because she doesn't talk down to people. She comes down to their level and talks to them as an equal. And I think as men, sometimes our ego gets in the way and screaming and yelling at somebody, that's not going to do anything. But having a conversation with somebody is where that communication can get lost in screaming and yelling on a football field, especially because like it's just like this high testosterone environment and a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
Which I would assume is probably very similar to like like these operators, man. Like they're in some wild situations and a lot of chaos is going on, and it would be easy for them to lose sight of what they're focused on and focus on themselves. Like, okay, I got to get out of here. But when you stay with like Peyton was always like, hey, let's focus on like winning, right? Let's focus on winning. Like, I'm not worried about myself. I don't care how many touchdowns I throw. I don't care about any of that shit.
Yeah.
As long as we win the game. Like if I got to hand the ball off 40 times, I don't give a shit. You know, that's where something special can come together, when everybody kind of puts their ego aside and puts their self-serving needs aside and isn't serving. You're doing it for the guy next to you. You know, like I always wanted my teammates to know they could count on me. You know, like I'm going to be there and I'm going to do my job at the best of my ability, no matter what. And that's what I always wanted out of a guy next to me. So be what you got to be what you want. So if you want guys to act like that, you got to lead that way. And that's the way I always led. I always led by example. I was never like a hoorah, give a big speech guy. I was just like, look, my work is going to speak for itself. This is how I work. I come to work every day, and nothing else really needs to be said. But Peyton was one of those guys that he came to work every single day. He was the first one in, last one out. And the stuff he did, the way he composed himself every day was just contagious.
That's awesome. Yeah, that mission focus. Like, who cares what it looks like? We're focused on one mission.
Yeah.
And Derek, how big do you think hunting in the wilderness, in these backcountry experience, has been to kind of like your restoration post NFL?
Man, I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful to have that. That's why I fight so hard for it. That's like, now it's like, I see how many people are out there really trying to take it away from us. And I'm like, I will fight you tooth and nail over this. I've drawn a hard line in the sand that I'm not going to just like sit back and let people take away our rights and take away our ability to go out and do this. If you tell people they can't go out and provide food for themselves, then what kind of society do we really live in? Like I said, I love history, right? So what was it all for? What was the idea of a free country for? And how many people have died for this idea, right? What is it all for if we just give it up without a fight,
Yeah.
And when I say fight, I mean, you have to fight with the lobbying. You have to fight you have to encourage people to vote, and you have to educate people on what they're voting on. And that's just like a whole new challenge. But as what it's done for me, I know it can help others, and I know it does help others. So it's like, I'm not going to just like sit back and let them take it away, because I love this way. I love this lifestyle. I love this way of life. I love the idea of it. And I love feeding myself. I love the idea that I don't have to go to a grocery store. I know that if something were to happen, I could provide food for myself and my family. Like if there was no access to a grocery store, I know that I could take my family out to the wilderness and I could provide for them, and I could teach them the ways to survive. Yeah. And there's like, I love that life. It's not for everybody, but I love it. So why do you want to take that away from me? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. I always think about the greatest thing you could do for a lot of anti-hunters is just take them out hunting with you. 'Cause a lot of folks just don't understand it. There are some true hardcore anti-hunters, but there's a lot of people that just don't understand what hunting is and how powerful it is, and really how much it is doing for like actual wildlife management. Without hunting, we wouldn't have animals in many of the spots that we have animals, because hunters have done all that conservation, and in getting them out with you and showing them really what it actually looks like to like harvest an elk that's there because of conservation, and that came from hunter dollars, and then taking that home, processing it, and feeding it to your family. Usually when people see that from top to bottom, they become hunters themselves. It's the lack of understanding that causes a lot of problems.
Yeah. Well, they're thinking emotionally. They don't want to educate themselves. They don't want to experience it. A lot of them don't even eat meat. So it's just like, okay, that's, you're allowed to live that way. I'm allowed to live this way. Leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
like, I don't bother you. You don't bother me. And then we're fine. You know, that's supposed to be the idea of America, that like you can live however you want to live, and nobody's should be allowed to take that away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, you know, I think people just have too much time in their hands. You know, that you're spending all this time to try to make it so I can't hunt, and to reintroduce wolves. They'll go as far as reintroducing predators to kill those animals off so that I can't go kill them.
Jeez.
That's what they're doing, you know? And that's like, you guys are out of your mind. Like they hate us so much. They hate our ideas and our way of life so much that they're willing to dump hundreds of millions of dollars into it. And they're willing to dedicate their life to it. And it's just like, come on, man. Like nobody loves these animals more than we do.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody cares more about wildlife more than a hunter. Nobody. I don't care how these antis that think they care about animals. They don't. You know, look at what their little solar farms are doing, and their soybean fields, and their almond farms. Like they're destroying entire habitats, and then calling us the bad guys. Man, like, well, I'm out there. I don't even leave anything on the mountain. What I take out there, I take back with me. I don't leave shit out there.
Yeah.
I take every piece of meat that I can with me. You know, every piece of meat that is salvageable comes with me. Mm-hmm. The hide, you know, I leave nothing but bones.
Yeah. And you guys just had wolves reintroduced to Colorado like last year, right?
It's not, they call it a reintroduction. It's not even a reintroduction. Those wolves were never here. And we already had wolves. There's already a pack of wolves in Colorado. Man. So like, it's all bullshit, man. Yeah. It's all bullshit. Now they're trying to ban mountain lion hunting. And it's all part of their plan. It's an attack on the conservative way of life. It's an attack on the warrior, because most of our warriors are former hunters or are hunters. Mm-hmm. So if you take away hunting, then, you know, it's a long-term plan for them. You know, they're trying to keep us dumb, fat, and stupid and soft. Jeez. And if they can do that, then they can control us like sheep. And it's just like, I'm not sorry, I will never be a sheep. And it's our duty to kind of push that way of life. You know, they want us to be like these genderless, you know, people that just never leave their house. You sit in front of a computer and you live in this world where it's all virtual and nothing's real. You know, most of these people can't even look you in the eyes when they talk to you. Yeah. We need strong men in dangerous times for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you think about like so many of those folks just stuck behind that keyboard. Like if they could just get out into some great training sessions, how much different, you know, their day and their week, their month and their life would be. Yeah, if you just boosted their testosterone levels a little bit, mm-hmm. You know, eat a little red meat, bud, and you might feel better. It's crazy. Cool, Derek. Well, in closing, I want to be respectful of your time, but you know, just lastly, to finish things up, based on everything we talked about, like, what would you say to that guy out there that's kind of in that funk, they're kind of in that depression, and they're kind of like, they're looking for that trajectory change. They're looking for that jump start. Like, friends of yours, what do you tell that guy to get going? I would say stop looking and start acting. Mm-hmm. You know, start taking action, because the only person that can change it is you. You know what I mean? It's like it's the same way with like addicts, right? They're always looking for somebody to fix them. And it's like, nobody can fix you but you. You know, these dark days, they don't last forever, man. Like if they only last as long as you let them last. Right. And it's up to you to change your position in life. It's up to you. So if you want to make a change, then make the change. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things where if you want to stay feeling sorry for yourself, you're going to be in there. But if you want to really make a change, man, like find some shit that you love to do and just go do it. Mm-hmm. Like find something that makes you happy Find something that gives you purpose. Find something that challenges you. It doesn't have to be even a physical challenge. Like, it could be, something simple as, find like a word game to challenge your brain.
Do something.
Start there.
Yeah.
And then that might just change your mindset right there. Just something simple. Like, just challenge yourself. And that's the only way you're going to get out of the funk, is if you push yourself to change. You have to push yourself into that change, because change is like the most difficult thing you can go through as a human. It's just, change is hard because we're all stuck in our ways. Right. So if you can kind of change that trajectory, and it's hard because you're already you're set in your ways. You've done it for so long this way. And it's like, well, it hasn't worked because you're not happy and you're not finding any kind of happiness in your day. So what do? You got to change. So just make a change. To me, I think finding a tribe, try to find a tribe of whatever it is. I don't care what it is. Find a tribe and embrace it, and they'll embrace you.
Yeah. If it's not working, try something different. You got to get off the X. And I mean, there's no better way to get off the X than plugging in with a community. Like a guy that's struggling, if they walk into a jiu-jitsu gym and start rolling with some dudes, how quickly they're going to start feeling better. It's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right away, man. It works. It's proven. It's, obviously there's data out the window. There's tons of data that shows. There's tons of data that shows that just being 3 days in the backcountry can reset your brain for a whole year.
It's crazy.
So, I mean, just do that. You don't even have to hunt. Just go out there and spend 3 days out there without any kind of cell service, without any kind of distractions, just you in nature.
Yeah.
Just go do that. That's simple. That's simple there. You don't have to even get a hunting license. Just go out and camp and challenge yourself. And sometimes sometimes you need to suffer a little bit, to find some happiness. You don't have to suffer silently sitting in the same position. You can go out and suffer somewhere else, and then you come out of it thinking, man, I feel so much better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a game changer. I definitely challenge anyone who's struggling at all, 3 days camping in the backcountry, you're going to come back a different person.
Oh yeah.
Cool, man. Well, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate you. I'm proud of you, man. It's really cool to see the hunting journey you've been on, since coming out of the NFL and fighting for that conservation. Like we're proud of you. Mountain Tough's proud of you. Like this is a fight we need to be in and stay in the fight.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Appreciate you, and crush it, man. Keep us posted on what you got going on.
All right, brother. We'll do.
Thanks, Derek. Thanks so much for listening to that podcast, everyone. That was a phenomenal conversation with Derek Wolfe. Derek's worth ethic is phenomenal, and you can hear it in his voice. You can hear it in his energy. He wants men to be men, and he wants men to be warriors, whether that's you're on the battlefield or not, because he knows that's what we need in our life to fulfill our purpose and our mission. We can't be complacent. We can't have a life of mediocrity. We got to implement that discipline, get on the path, and get stuff done to pursue our purpose. And ultimately, by doing that, we're fighting back all that depression and anxiety that comes with the opposite. If you're not pursuing your purpose and passions, if you're not working hard and showing gratitude and staying disciplined, you are going to fall into depression and anxiety of a passive life. So Derek shared some really good golden nuggets of wisdom in that episode. Thanks so much for listening. Remember, you can keep up with Derek on his Instagram. His Instagram is at DerekWolf_95. He has some awesome content on there, including a recent mountain lion hunt. Check that out. And thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for listening to these Mountain Tough episodes week after week. Keep track of us. We'll be dropping a new episode every Tuesday. And also, all these episodes are available on our YouTube channel at Mountain Tough Fitness. Thanks so much, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening to the Mountain Tough Podcast. We'll see you next week.